It is 8 p.m. and we're all here. I'd like to call this meeting to order for July 28th for the Mount Lebanon Commission. If everybody could please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Manager McGill, could you please conduct a roll call?
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn?
Present.
Commissioner Izzo? Present. Commissioner Swager-Wilson?
Present.
Commissioner Siegler?
Here.
Commissioner Petty is not able to join us this evening.
Item number 1, presentation of Lifesaver Award by Chief David Turkle of MRTSA. The chain of survival in cardiac arrest is crucial in successful discharge from a hospital with intact neurological prognosis. MRTSA and the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Association will be presenting life-saving awards to those people who are crucial in preserving the integrity of that chain of survival. Recipients include the cardiac arrest survivor, staff from the Mount Lebanon Saloon, local citizens who performed life-saving measures, and public safety providers who provided high-level emergency care.
Thank you very much for having us. Again, my name is David Turkle. I'm the Chief of Medical Rescue Team South, and with me is Cheryl Rickens from the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Association. I'd like to call up recipients of the awards. We'll just call them all up here. We have a short presentation, and then we will let the commission resume with their meeting. So as I call you, if you could please come up and make an orderly line the best you can up here in the front. First, Mr. David Delapina, Mr. Keith Shepard. If you guys just want to hold your applause, there's a long list. Ms. Emma Anderson, Ms. Cecilia Rattay, Dr. Katie Rattay, Marguerite Rattay, Mr. Joseph Rattay, yes, it's a family event, Ms. Caitlin Verzino, Ms. Abigail Weiss, Sergeant Jacob Elk, Officer Daniel Decker, Officer John Galvin, Officer Zachary Logan, Lieutenant Scott Bolin, Lieutenant Steve Norbosch, Lieutenant William Sukich, EMT Gavin Hutchinson, Paramedic Bernard Rosenstern, Paramedic Brandon Rowland, and EMT Tia White.
So on Friday, June 12th, around 9:30 in the evening, at the Saloon of Mount Lebanon, there was a cardiac arrest. This person did not show any signs of life. Immediately, pure serendipity with some folks that were in the room, CPR was started, and there is an AED that was used, a defibrillator. And because of that, a life was saved, and that's what we're celebrating tonight. Not that we're handing them out here, but the certificates that we're going to receive have the chain of survival on it. So awareness, action, calling 911, early CPR, early defibrillation, obviously the professionals coming, police, fire, EMS, and then transport to the hospital where the patient gets to do ongoing care and have rehab and recovery. And then because of that, not only do you get to celebrate your birthday every February 12th. 12 must be your number since the event occurred on June 12th, which is your rebirth day. Your bonus days are 47 days and counting, and that's a reason to celebrate. And it's teamwork at its ultimate best that we're here to celebrate. So not only do the folks get a certificate, y'all get a roll of Lifesavers because they're lifesavers. And they also get a pin that says that they make a difference. The survivor gets a pin from the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Association and gets some candy that says, because life is sweet, because life is sweet, and that's why we're here to celebrate. You all should be proud of your folks that you have here in your community standing here before you. They did a great job. Their training kicked in, both for the folks that were off duty and visiting. In the community, we had an emergency room physician. We had somebody from the post-cardiac arrest service at Presby, a gentleman that held the door open, and then police, fire, and EMS, and it was the ultimate teamwork, as well as some other people in the room, another nurse, working at the saloon, and then the owner of the saloon. So now you can give a great round of applause.
So just to recap, and then we will be out of the commission's way here. There's moments in our profession that remind us exactly why preparation matters, why training matters, why partnerships matter. Tonight, we recognize one of those moments. On the evening of June 12th, David Delapina was enjoying what seemed like an ordinary evening at the Mount Lebanon Saloon, which I found it wasn't exactly the case, but that's what I knew at the beginning. Without warning, he suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. Fortunately, this story didn't begin that evening. Several years earlier, Keith Shepard, the owner of the Mount Lebanon Saloon, made a decision he hoped he would have to rely on. He purchased an automated external defibrillator and made a commitment to be prepared for the unexpected. On June 12th, that decision saved a life. When Mr. Delapina collapsed, Emma Anderson, a saloon employee, immediately recognized the seriousness of the situation. She retrieved the AED without hesitation, while by extraordinary coincidence, as Cheryl mentioned, a group of nurses and physicians who were in the restaurant rushed to his side. They immediately began CPR, applied the AED, and delivered the shock that restored Mr. Delapina's heartbeat before emergency responders arrived. Within minutes, personnel from Medical Rescue Team South Authority, the Mount Lebanon Police Department, and the Mount Lebanon Fire Department arrived and seamlessly took over his care. This evening, some of those being recognized may feel that they only played a small role, a police officer securing the scene or a firefighter assisting with patient movement and equipment, but that's exactly the point. There is no such thing as a small role when someone is dying. A life like David's is saved because every link in the chain of survival is strong. Someone had the vision to purchase an AED, someone knew where it was, someone was willing to use it. Police officers made the scene safe, fire personnel provided support, and our paramedics and EMTs assured patient care was delivered with advanced life-saving treatment and continued to make critical decisions long after a pulse had returned. One of those decisions deserves special recognition. So there's many hospitals that were closer to Mr. Delapina that night after he suffered his cardiac arrest. In fact, our crews drove past one of the hospitals capable of receiving him. But EMS today is far more than taking someone to the nearest emergency department. It's about understanding the patient's needs, evaluating the resources available, and ensuring the patient reaches the facility best equipped to provide the care that they need. Knowing Mr. Delapina's medical history and his planned cardiac surgery, our paramedics made the decision to transport him to UPMC Presbyterian, where the specialized cardiac team was prepared to continue his care. That decision reflects the clinical judgment, education, and professionalism that our paramedics and EMTs demonstrate every day. As chief, I could not be more proud of the members of MRTSA, but I am equally proud of the partnerships we share with the Mount Lebanon Police Department, the Mount Lebanon Fire Department, our healthcare colleagues, and the businesses in our community that choose to prepare for emergencies before they ever happen. This is all why Mr. Delapina is alive today. So tonight's awards are not simply about recognizing individual acts. They celebrate what can happen when ordinary people, public safety professionals, healthcare providers, and community partners all work towards one common goal. There's no greater accomplishment. Congratulations. If you would like to say something, you may.
No, I just, real quick, I know you have a.
But they want to
meeting
take a
coming.
picture too, but go ahead.
Just to thank gentlemen that I didn't get a chance to talk with. I'll be bringing some pizza for you, okay? And the fact that my family's involved with the medical field. Everybody did, as you said, everybody stepped up and chipped in, so I thank them all. That's all.
Logan. Logan, you're never in the front of pictures, are you? No.
Hey, Steve, come on. Come on, you can do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
This is why we encourage all our first responders to enjoy our local establishments. Off duty, of course. All right, thanks so much. An amazing story, absolutely. All right. Item number 2, Manager McGill, would you mind reviewing this discussion session topics and manager's announcements, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, the commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We heard an overview of the activities of the various municipal boards from their commission liaisons. We received information from the Mount Lebanon Partnership on a variety of topics. We heard a review of information on building permits and related issuance timelines. And we reviewed different options for consideration regarding the Stormwater Fund. Prior to that meeting, we met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics and make appointments for the junior commissioner positions. The next meeting of the commission will be held on August 25th. There is no meeting on August 11th. So this is a change in the schedule. I don't know if the microphones are not working. I'm usually very easy to hear, but there was a lot of talking going on back there. So here are the ways the public can participate, either in person, you don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time, or you can participate remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, no need to pre-register, simply click on the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Manager McGill. Vice President Flynn, would you be so kind to share community highlights?
Thank you, President Siegler. The Mount Lebanon Commission and staff send our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of former Commissioner Jim Howell, who died on July 14th at the age of 77. A talented, highly regarded architect, Jim served this board from 1992 through 1995. Among his many volunteer activities were several trips to Africa to build irrigation systems. The funeral was last week. We remain grateful to him for his many contributions to bettering life in Mount Lebanon. Mount Lebanon wants to communicate with you in many different ways so that you'll always have access to information about your town. We publish a free email newsletter called 710 every other week. It's full of important news you need to know, deadline reminders, and links to needed resources, plus a little bit of fun. Sign up today at mountlebanon.org/710, the words 710. The Mount Lebanon Police Department had a reschedule of its annual car show due to storms. The rescheduled date is Sunday, September 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Washington Road. If you already registered, no need to do so again. If you haven't signed up yet, forms are available on our website at the Police Department at the Public Safety Center, 555 Washington Road. And if I recall correctly, we did supplement that with a cat show, which I believe was online and got lots of great feedback. Many people have old paint cans, solvents, batteries, and pesticides around the house. Get rid of these harmful chemicals at our Household Hazardous Waste Collection event on Saturday, August 8th at the Public Works facility on Lindendale Drive from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Reservations are required, and our contractors at Noble Environmental do charge a fee for the service. A price list is available when you access the schedule to book your appointment. Go to nobleenviro.com and select Drive-Through Collection under the Household Hazardous Waste tab. And finally, A final reminder for Final Friday this week from 6 to 9 p.m. in Clearview Common with the music of 59 Watt. The free concert series is open to all. That is all I have, Commission President Ziegler. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Before we jump into citizens' comments, I would like to make a statement. In recent months, we've seen a proliferation of electric mobility devices in our community. As the technology has improved and prices have decreased, these devices have become more common nationally and here in Mount Lebanon. They are also faster and cheaper, which has created a very real concern among residents. We've received a lot of input from residents during that time asking something to be done. Initially, we considered legislation restricting when and where these devices could be used. But after further consideration and deliberation, we realized that our existing legislation already addresses these concerns, and the new legislation would be duplicative, confusing, and ultimately unnecessary. So we're removing the public hearing from the agenda and are no longer considering the proposed legislation. I want to thank everybody who worked on this effort while we aren't ultimately implementing new legislation. Going through the process was important. Thank you to staff and our solicitor for their work drafting the legislation, and to everyone who wrote in or called to share their concerns. I think at times we're eager to show our constituents that we hear them and that we are working for them, and that was the case here. But ultimately, we realized that we could address these concerns without creating a new ordinance. We're going to focus on education and enforcement to achieve the same goals. Finally, I want to thank Chief Haberman and his team for the considerable time they've spent in recent weeks working on this issue. I know it's been a heavy lift, and the Commission greatly appreciates the time and attention given to this matter. I'd like to ask Chief Haberman to share a few comments on how the department plans to approach education enforcement going forward. And following that, if any residents would still like to make a public comment, we welcome you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Commission President. Appreciate the opportunity to not only highlight the good work that a number of officers and folks have done and staff have done as we put together a robust education program on micromobility, but it also gives us an opportunity to really reach out to concerned citizens and folks who really are passionate about this issue. So it really is a great opportunity for us to highlight those points, and I do appreciate the opportunity to do that. So what we have is an informed education and enforced approach to all of our traffic issues. We've done that since the time I've been chief, and we continue to do that. We evaluate data, we evaluate facts, we evaluate statistics anytime that we're reviewing any kind of a traffic problem or any kind of a issue associated with mobility. So when we have these micro-mobility issues, which are covered under Chapter 35 of the state Title 75 Vehicle Code, it does take a robust amount of education, and we understand that. And so what we've done is partnered with key stakeholders. When we look back, we've had 6 incidents over the last year involving micromobility devices, and 3 of those have been involving children under the age of 16. So we recognize the emphasis has to be on following the laws that currently exist related to the use of these devices by children over 16, as well as the inability of people to use electric scooters and electric motorcycles, essentially what they are. So as we've done this, we also recognize the nuances within the laws and how technical and intricate they can be in terms of what is what and what isn't. And so we partnered with our Public Information Office, we partnered with Dr. Freeze from the school district, and we partnered with our public safety agencies as well to really get the word out in order to educate parents, educate kids, and also educate our police officers as to the nuances of the law. We really want the consistent approach as we go through this and as we approach these things in terms of that have come up, whether it's through technology, whether it's new technology that may come up tomorrow. These are things that have really been thrust upon us through a series of events, and here we are in a situation that we feel is the best approach to deal with this. So from a safety standpoint, whether it's the 5,000 plus kids in the Mount Lebanon School District, whether it's kids that we interact with in Keystone Oaks or Seton LaSalle, we really want to make sure that we educate everybody as to the laws that currently exist and as to the parameters and allowances that are out there. We recognize the confusion, and we also recognize the importance of that education. So with that, what we really want to emphasize is that we are in fact in that informed, educate approach. We are right now in that process. We are continuing to meet kids where they're at with having bike details. Our bicycle officers are out there. They've contacted over 30 kids in the last week to educate them as to the parameters of these bicycle laws and of the nuances of these micromobility devices and what you can and can't do on those. What's really important is that we collaborate, that we have the help of the parents in our district, we have the help of the parents in our community, that we have business owners and our stakeholders to really get on board to make sure everyone understands their left and right boundaries when it comes to these things. So again, I really appreciate the good work that the Mount Lebanon police officers have done. Again, our traffic unit, our community outreach unit have spent a lot of time to really develop a program that is deliverable and scalable. Our public information office has allowed us to really put out a lot of micro-mobility information. If you go to the Mount Lebanon webpage, go to the transportation page, you'll land on a micro-mobility specific link that will give you all the updated micro-mobility pages. This is our updated flyers you'll see out. If you haven't seen them yet, you'll see them. These are a number of real simplistic ways to look at sort of the breakdown of what's really important when it comes to over 16 electric scooters and then the e-motorcycles, which are clearly an issue. Micro-mobility devices continue to be updated by PennDOT, and this is the latest micro-mobility fact sheet that you'll see on the PennDOT website. We also have a link to that on our PIO, on our transportation page. So with that, again, I really appreciate everyone's enthusiasm when it comes to these things. I think it's a great opportunity as we move forward with educating the public and educating all of our officers as well. So we spent a lot of time in doing that, and what we really want to make sure is everyone understands that there's a collaborative approach in order to make sure everybody's safe in the community. So with that, again, thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the time to highlight the good work that a number of folks have done and really emphasize the need for safety.
Thank you very much, Chief. Again, I know how much your time is spent on this, so we're very appreciative.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, please.
So this has been a fascinating topic, and it's one that I truly also appreciate everybody's effort in this, because it really has highlighted some of the challenges, right, that we experience as a community as technology changes. It's again, growing up in the 80s, right, I remember the don't ride the skateboard. Skateboards were dangerous, and this is our generation's dealing with that. But I think the challenges are, right, a lot of it is around education, and how do we promote education around mobility issues? Because mobility is always changing, right? What I grew up with or what my father grew up with is different than what my children grew up with, and what their children will grow up with. These things are always evolving. So how do we as a community create a framework in which, learning about mobility is a positive experience for our youngest kids? It's not just about what is no, but what's yes, right? Because again, kids will be kids, humans will be human. So the question for me is, how do we support the positive answer? Because our kids are going to get out and be kids, and that's great. We want them doing that. We don't want them staring at a computer all the time. So how does the Mountain municipality support the school district? How does the municipality support our police department or other educational outreach programs that really build a culture of mobility that isn't just about cars, right? We talk about being a walking school district. So how do we support that? How do we educate? And not just kids, everybody. This exercise has been useful for me to learn things about mobility rules. And I thought I was relatively well informed. So I think education is something that we can all be supportive of, and I will be encouraging the staff to bring forward additional funding on an ongoing basis to support more education around mobility throughout the community. The other thing I think is a huge issue, and Chief Haberman showed you a quick glimpse of the state's definitions of all of these devices. This is a challenge that is beyond one municipality. It is an issue at the state level. We have an evolution of regulations around different types of devices, probably all very well-meaning at the time, right? Again, you get a new device, you need to regulate that device. But there comes a point where the state legislature and PennDOT and the other regulatory bodies need to come together and rethink, how do we understand, not number of wheels, but how much mass does this thing have? How fast can it go? And then what are the safety rules around it? Because until that happens, until you have a standardized framework, right, our police and our parents and our kids are going to be confused about what's allowed and what's not allowed and where I can and where I can't. And that just makes it difficult for everybody. And it's something that, another thing that I'm hoping that this commission will take up is to push a resolution to encourage the state legislature to take that up, because it is a challenge for everybody involved.
Thank you, Commissioner Finn. Very astute and important comments that I think help frame this up. All right, we'll continue with public comment. We start with Colonel Hoon, please.
I've earned 4 master's degrees and a doctorate, and over the course of all that, I wrote 2 theses. I presented the same and defended them to thesis committees. The thesis committees are members of your peer group, and they're free to ask any question that they want related to your research. The individual that's making the presentation provides copies of the thesis to each member of the committee, his advisor, and he retains one. That's about 6 months out from the point at which we're going to have a meeting and examine your work. Believe me, nothing is wrong. Your thesis advisor has guided your research from the very beginning. You've discussed possible topics. He's discussed approaches with you. Remember, this person is an expert in his field, as are all members of the committee. They've all worked for decades in that given area. And what I'm talking about is, if you're doing something in anthropology, your committee's going to come from the anthropology department. So, simple enough. You have this meeting, they take out their copies of your thesis, they have highlighted material there, they've underlined, they've written notes, and they all have notebooks with questions they might bring up. So why am I bringing this up? Everything you've got in that document has to be relevant to your main point. And I had an individual in one of these examinations ask me, what is the relevance of this item on page 120 of your thesis, second paragraph? And he read the paragraph. Okay, my degree at that point depended on my response to that question and any ensuing questions. The whole works, all that work that I did, that took 2 years. So I had to get it right. What is the relevance of this item, paragraph 2 on page 120? He read the paragraph. And I came up with a response. Like I said, if it wasn't a good response, and these folks all have decades of work experience, specifically in what we were talking about. So there's no BS, there's no trying to bluff or float through this. You better know what you're talking about, because they're inducting you into their field. Now, that's the question, the relevance. The commission over the years, 21 years, has come up with all kinds of things that have absolutely no relevance to what we're talking about. A deer issue. The last meeting we had, the commissioner from Ward 1 read a document with this had statewide material in it. Statewide material has absolutely no relevance, nor does insurance data. Insurance data comes from all over the place. Might not even be in Pennsylvania. So to say that we're saving millions of dollars by killing deer is pure crap. Has no relevance whatsoever. Now, do all of you understand what I'm saying? Because this has been going on for 21 years. We need to get off this. We need to deal with what's relevant. And the problem, if there is a problem in Mount Lebanon, there isn't. That's why we've been doing it for 21 years.
Thank you, Colonel Hoon. And also, I appreciate seeing you out picking up trash all the time in the neighborhood.
I said, hearing problem.
I said thank you, and I see you out picking up trash every day in the neighborhood. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Dave Egler.
David Egler, 121 Poplar Drive. It was a very nice presentation this evening, and I hope you're all trained on using AEDs here. And just for information, I carry this little pill bottle in my pocket. I've been doing it for years. If I ever drop here, this is my nitrostat. There's a bottle in a bottle, and the reason why is nitrostats are affected by light, so that's why I got the extra bottle here. So if I'm here, grab a pill under my tongue, just smack me a little bit, and I should be fine. It's good to see a good crowd here. I hope the young people here someday come to meetings regularly, see how your money's spent, and know how your government works. Most people don't have a clue. So when you leave here today, you're going to be a lot more educated than most of your friends, so keep it up. Okay, the reason why I'm here tonight, the last topic that was discussed in the discussion session is stormwater fee. I have some agreement, some disagreement. I kind of go through that. I don't think most people realize, and I know me personally, I pay more in fees than I do in taxes. You'd have to have a house worth over $180,000 where you pay more in taxes and fees. As far as fees, I look at fees, they should be voluntary. It should be like building permits that you discussed, poll passes and things like that. To me, a fee should be voluntary. When you have a fee that's mandatory like this, it's not a fee, it's a regressive tax. And there's nothing worse than regressive taxes. It's going to get to the point that everybody's going to be paying the same, and all that does is hurt the poor people in town. So I'm recommending basically get rid of all fees. I like the idea of how to offset it. The earned income tax, a raise there, whether it be the 0.05, we're going from 1.3 to 1.4, I have no problem with that. As far as the millage, once again, going up and paying my fair share, I have no problem with that. As far as, and I understand the stormwater decision and nonprofits, I mean, the main reason why to have that fee was for the nonprofits to pay their fair share. Well, I always figured their fair share was they were tax exempt. They shouldn't have been paying all along. Has the municipality also considered eliminating the sanitary sewer fee? What's the difference between a sanitary sewer fee and a storm sewer fee? Don't be surprised if somebody comes in and demands to have that removed also, because as far as I look at it, they're basically the same thing, their fees. And as far as the way the state's seeing it, don't be surprised if they cut it out. As far as funding this and such, I know a number of you mentioned about having segregated funds. I personally don't agree with that. I look at it like in personal. I have X amount of money in my pocket at home. I know what my budget is. I know how to spend it. Some years I got to spend more money here. Some years I got to spend more money there. When you segregate that money, you have less access to it. We're very capable here in spending the money properly. From year to year, you may spend $1 million a year on storm sewers, and the next year you may need $2 million. So as you go from year to year, you adjust your budget accordingly. It's not that big of a deal, and the accounting's easy. You could do whatever work you want. There's no change, no restrictions at all. So as far as, the expenditures and such, you can continue doing as much work as you want. If you want to put a policy out there that we want to do X amount of work on certain things, fine. Put a policy in place, and each year, budget time, budget accordingly. If things happen during the year, things change, you have budget amendments, you have availability. Once again, why make it difficult on yourself? Just put it in general millage. You've got a very responsible staff here. They watch the money, they spend it properly. There's no reason to put restrictions on anybody. And like I said, as far as those fees, I've been recommending for quite a while to eliminate the fees and just go with raise the millage, raise the earned income tax. I'm fine with that. I'm willing to pay my fair share. The question is, how do you do it? Who basically gets hurt with this change, with raising the millage? Well, it's the commercial properties. Most of them don't live in Mount Lebanon, and the people who have the most expensive homes in town. Those are the ones that would be paying more. The majority of the people in this town would actually pay less in the future if you were to get rid of the fees and increase the millage and earned income tax. Bottom line is juggling the numbers to get it to balance. You know how much you have to spend each year. The question is who's going to pay it. So I'm recommending get rid of all the fees, put it in the taxes where it used to be, and it worked for decades upon decades. There was never a problem in doing it that way. So that's my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Egler. Next up, Sean Battis.
Sean Battis, 448 Jason Avenue. First and foremost, I want to thank the Commission and the Police Department for their strong desire to maintain our safe community, to address citizens' very real concerns, and taking feedback to heart when considering how best to address those concerns. I support your decision to move forward with education and enforcement of current regulations. I've personally witnessed unsafe behavior. I've also had a close pass recently on the sidewalk, but I also sympathize as a former kid and as a parent. Growing up, I was able to ride my bike safely around my hometown not far from here. The freedom and independence it provided were very important to me and to my development. But I did not grow up in the age of cell phone distracted drivers and what seems to be an epidemic of impatience behind the wheel. Kids need a safe way to get around or to enjoy being a kid. That currently means using a lot of our shared sidewalks. I can tell you firsthand that many of our roads are not safe to ride on for the inexperienced or the timid. If we want to truly solve this issue, we must reduce the contention for safe riding space. As we look ahead, I urge you to remember the needs of these kids and what constraints drive these behaviors. I ask you to remember other cyclists in the community, myself included, and to remember those that want to cycle but currently don't feel safe to do so. I urge you especially to remember them during the upcoming budget process. We need to start somewhere. We have no cycling infrastructure in our municipality, and it's clear that the need is urgent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Becky Campagnaro, might be Campagnano. The N's and the R's look kind of similar.
Good evening. My name is Becky Campanaro, and I was speaking in support of the proposed bike ordinance, but I greatly appreciate everything that the Commission has done to look into this and that the Police Department has done in collaboration with the Commission as well as with the school district. In particular, I know that we have a great history with the Police Department and working to educate our children on a variety of different issues, especially as they crop up, whatever the current need is. So I think that's a great step forward. My support comes from a genuine concern for the safety of our children, of our community. E-bikes and e-scooters can travel at speeds far beyond the speeds that can be achieved on a conventional bike, yet many of the riders are children who have had no formal driver education and little understanding of the rules of the road. As the commissioners are aware, residents routinely observe young riders running stop signs, riding against traffic, and disregarding basic traffic laws on the roads. These vehicles can create risks on sidewalks where pedestrians are not expecting high-speed traffic and on roads where riders are sharing space with motor vehicles despite lacking the training, experience, and safety equipment that we expect of licensed drivers. This issue is not theoretical for my family. My son earned his driver's license about a year ago, and his experiences have shaped my views on this issue. I also have a 14-year-old son, and many of his friends and classmates are here and are at the age where they're riding these vehicles. As a result, when I think about the risks involved, I'm not only thinking about young drivers like my older son, but also about the children who could be injured or killed while riding. Recently, I sat in a school board meeting and a friend texted me after observing my son driving in the neighborhood. She wrote, quote, "Just a heads up that I observed your son very safely driving today, and a kid sped past a stop sign and an intersection going probably 50 miles an hour. He waited and was smart enough not to turn even though that kid was several hundred feet back. His patience is the only reason that kid is still alive." Whether the rider was actually traveling 50 miles per hour is not the important point. The important point is that a serious collision was narrowly avoided because a newly licensed driver exercised patience and good judgment. Not long after that, my son came across one of his friends who had been run off the road while riding an e-scooter. The boy had to bail out on a sidewalk to avoid a collision and ended up breaking his arm. The driver responsible fled the scene. Police were never called, and so this incident was never officially documented as one of the 5 that Chief Haberman mentioned. And I've heard of other similar undocumented incidents occurring in our community as well. The 2 incidents illustrate the reality that we face. Children riding e-bikes and e-scooters are vulnerable, and at the same time, young drivers and elderly drivers alike can find themselves confronted with unexpected situations involving riders traveling at high speeds and disregarding traffic controls. We're also a pass-through community, and many of the people driving on our roads do not live here and take the care in our community that we do. And it only takes a moment of distraction, poor judgment, or delayed reaction time for a tragedy to occur. As a parent, my greatest fear is a completely preventable collision between a child on an e-bike or e-scooter and a young driver like my son. That kind of accident would not just affect one child. It would permanently change the lives of 2 young people and 2 families in our community. We've been fortunate so far, but the increased use of these vehicles means that our luck will not last forever. To be clear, I recognize as a former child and as a parent that when your child has their driver's license, the freedom that it provides to you as the parent, as well as the freedom that it provides to that child, my life has opened up dramatically over the last year. And you know, I'm not really looking forward to the next couple of years when I have to continue driving my younger son around, but that's the reality, and our current infrastructure is not set up to allow the use of these vehicles safely. I would love it if we could get to that point through education, through better infrastructure, et cetera. And I think that's something that I would love to see. I know we have, Move Lebo. I'd love to see us get to that point, but we're not there. And so I think enforcement and education is critically important at this point. We can't eliminate every risk, but we can take responsible steps to reduce the risk. So I think that we're establishing some common sense rules here, promoting responsible behavior and giving our police department the tools needed to address this dangerous conduct before a tragedy occurs. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Patty Lau, and as a reminder, please state your name and address when you approach.
I'm not related to the Pittsburgh Pirate. My last name is Lowe, but that's okay. I live at 750 Washington Square, so we go on the avenue frequently. And yesterday, I was supposed to call 911. I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't do that because I thought this might be an incidental thing. And then my husband said it's not incidental because you almost got killed or you are really injured, and I would have had to go with the MRTs. We were coming up here. I wasn't crossing the street. I was just walking along past Stevenson Williams and the Puff Daddy shop, which is not my favorite. We were walking, just meandering the two. We were side by side. And I taught middle school in Mount Lebanon and high school. So I love these kids and I want them out. I want them out and getting fresh air. But this young man came, I think a middle schooler, came flying by me on my right-hand side with no type of, on your right, watch your right, no signs at all. And I got really close. My husband was very frightened of being hit with that. If I had been hit with that at my age, I might not be here talking tonight. So I'm glad you're doing something. I'm glad that the chief is doing something, and I think education is the way. I really do, because these kids don't mean to do that. They don't take that much. They don't pay that much attention, and I was not paying attention to because I didn't hear him, and he just flew by. And when I say fly, I say maybe 10, 12 miles an hour. He was really going. So I said, hey, and he didn't stop. He didn't even hear me. He was already so far away. So I didn't realize this was a huge issue for everyone, but for us senior, mature people in the community, and I've been here since 1959, so when I say mature, I mean mature, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And I want these youngsters to be out and about, I really do, and with safety, and safety for the older citizens as well on the sidewalk. Thank you very much.
Very much appreciate the comments.
And just a reminder, there are no wheeled vehicles allowed on sidewalks in the business district being ridden. You have to walk them. You must walk them.
That's very dangerous for these kids too in the
Yeah.
street.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
The vehicles,
Yeah.
at the speeds they're going, they're not coming through Mount Lebanon, sorry, Chief. They're not coming through Mount Lebanon. They see that 25-mile-an-hour sign, yeah. We live there, we hear it,
Sure.
so that's an issue too, so you have to get to walk them.
Thank you. Kirill Chopin?
Hi, everyone. Kirill Tropin, 945 Margareta Avenue. I want to thank police department and elected officials for educating children about bicycles and educating adults about bicycles. But I want to talk about the underlying issue with bicycle safety. So I moved to the US 18 years ago, which sounds like a long time, and it is a long time ago, 18 years. I lived in Seattle suburb. First thing I bought when I moved, I bought a car, of course. Second thing, I bought a bicycle. Why bicycle? Because I could use it for recreation. I could also go to work 2-3 times a week. And that saves me time on workouts and recreation. I could be fit, get some fresh air, enjoy my time on a bike and get to work, and do the same on the way back. So that was 18 years ago. I lived in suburb of Seattle, so it wasn't like a hippie Seattle neighborhood, about as conservative as Mount Lebanon. And guess what? They had bicycle lanes 18 years ago. And you could get from home to work by bike safely. So that was 18 years ago. A few years later, I bought an electric bike. 12 years ago, I think 11. Why did I buy it? So that I could go on streets where there are no bicycle lanes, and I could be in traffic with cars, because cars there go 25 miles an hour, 30. I could feel safe being in traffic on the right side, or if it's just painted bike lane, not protected bike lane, I could feel safe because I'm going at comparable speeds. So that was 10 years ago. I moved here about 3 years ago, and guess what? Guess how many times I've ridden my bike to work? 0. Guess how many times I went to a coffee shop by bike? 0. Because it's not safe, in my opinion. I don't feel safe riding bike in Mount Lebanon. Other towns in the US had it 20 years ago. We don't have any bike lanes here. I look at our plans, I hear different programs, complete streets, full streets, active transportation. I've been here for 3 years. We keep talking, there are still no bike lanes. There's not even a map that shows that bike lanes are coming, and they're going to be here next year. When you look at other cities, typically it takes 3 years to start putting bike lanes for elected officials, like if there is a change. I've been here for 3 years, they're not coming. So my question for you, why aren't they coming? Where are the bike lanes? So when I hear all these stories about children going fast, they're just trying to stay safe when they go next to cars, because they cannot do it otherwise on a regular bicycle. When they ride on sidewalk in business districts, why do they do it? Well, where would they park their bikes? Ideally, they would park their bike and then go get ice cream, but there is nowhere convenient to park their bicycle in our business districts. So my request for you, build a plan. Let's not just talk, but let's put a plan on a map. Here are the bike lanes next year. Pittsburgh is adding 15 miles of bicycle lanes per year. So proportionally, we should be adding 1.5. We're adding 0, 1.5 miles of bike lanes per year. So where's the plan? Let's build it. Let's put parking spots for children and adults in business districts. And guess what? One car park, you could fit probably 10 bicycles in there. So that also frees up a lot of space. More people can come to businesses. Why aren't we doing this? So let's start building bicycle lanes and make it safer for children to ride and for adults to ride so they can go all the places. That's my request for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kate Spren, please.
All right, Kate Spren, 254 Academy Avenue. My opinions really echo many of Kirill's, but I also think we're all on the same page here. Even those who support the ordinance, I personally found it very redundant. And I'm glad that the commission decided to withdraw it and propose an alternative education plan. I just wonder, why was not the education plan Plan A, and why did it have to become Plan B after a vast amount of public comment? And the time, and I appreciate the time and many people who are working on it. I'm a paralegal, I draft pleadings all day, every day. But the amount of time and people to work on an ordinance and draft it and come to public comment, that time could have been spent on acting on our policies that we already have. The ordinance was a redundant ordinance of the state, which gave us jurisdiction, and our own code. So to that point, when are we acting on our policy? Our budget has slated $1.4 million to update baseball park lights, and our budget allows for more parking on Cedar Boulevard. Where is the money to enact our actions on the plan? Many of the more recent actions this summer, reading the newspaper about safe bike rules and knowing traffic laws, and many comments here on teaching kids traffic laws and what is an e-bike and what is an e-motorbike and what is lawful and where can we bike. We don't have the infrastructure in place to make that education effective. And we can sit here and talk philosophy and talk what side of the aisle you're on, but if the onus of responsibility is on the citizens and pedestrians, then make a policy that allows citizens and pedestrians to improve our own streets. I live on Academy Avenue. People are flying rockets up there every single day. They don't care that there's one stop sign at Marietta with one stop bar that's been repaved 3 times and been replaced, like no stop bars have been replaced. So people are flying through there. The police fly through there and they won't stop anybody because they don't witness it. So I understand that there's traffic control, but there's also things in place that can control traffic before we have to fine kids for bikes and fine kids for speeding when they don't have the situational awareness developed yet to even understand that. And you know, I'm an expecting mother. I deliver in February. Like this is this has become a real topic for me. And my husband and I, it is a real discussion that we will give up the top school district in Pennsylvania and one of the top school districts in America for more urbanism, for more walkability, so that our child can bike to school, so our child has the freedom to figure out their lives in a more safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marshall Eden?
Hi, Marshall Eaton, 1379 Sylvandale Drive. I don't really have a whole lot to add to the conversation, but when we're talking about education, there are these facilities that one could build called Traffic Garden, and they're basically scaled down urban environments for kids to learn, play, practice on. And I think that would be it'd be cool to look into. I realize it takes space, but I think that could be one way to improve education. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much. Next up, let's see, Enzo? Tigan?
Oh, let me get the notes. Enzo Zisman, 1050 Summer Place. I have 3 things I would like to say today. One is e-bikes aren't all about just being illegal. They're escape from issues of our very difficult school system and friends. With Mount Lebanon being so hilly, it becomes incredibly difficult to get somewhere without having your parents drive you, and that's not always an option. E-bikes are perfect for this. E-bikes are a way for mental health, to escape from your mental health, and they're not just so-called illegal bikes. They truly do help kids in this day and age of technology go outside in ways they usually wouldn't. Bikes are one of the only ways to escape and get kids off the screen. If we ride them safely and follow all the traffic laws, we should be allowed to ride them to a point. But if you take away the entire thing, not only will this affect many riders' mental health because they built somewhat of a connection to these bikes, but some kids have put months and months of effort to try to get as much money as they can to get these bikes, and just ripping it out of their hands would be very difficult. I would also like to point out how there's really no other option due to the fact how Mount Lebanon doesn't have any bike lanes, and and we can't really ride on the sidewalks that well because some of them like are really difficult. And then yeah, you can walk, but it's like, yeah, like there's no. There's no. Yeah. It's not like there's buses or like the T doesn't really help around here. And my final part is, can you like possibly put some lights on the turf at night? Because me and my friends, we like to play soccer and stuff at night, and it like past 9, then it's like done. So yeah, thank you.
Enzo, thank you very much for your comment. Morgan Sulik.
Hi, Morgan Sulik, 138 Sleepy Hollow Road. I came to speak against the e-bike ordinance, echoing a lot of what everyone else has stated. So keep it short. I first want to give a thank you, sorry, because I forgot their last names, but Dave and Phil for the Parks and Rec. They built a little ramp in Williamsburg Park. There was no curb cut there. Went out 2 weeks, built a little ramp. These are little things, little improvements that can be made to Mount Lebanon that I'd like to see more of, and I really like that they just went out and did it in 2 weeks, so I'm very proud of them. Please give them another thank you. I think the other thing I wanted to hear more of is really push for education of both adults and kids on rules of the road. Bike Pittsburgh, I know, has a bunch of good classes. They can come down, teach that. I think that's what I see a lot of with kids on e-bikes going the wrong way. Even scooters in the city when they had those. A lot of people going through red lights, through stop signs. That would make everything a lot safer. And then also love the idea of the traffic garden. That was the other thing I was going to bring up. That was new. We saw them in North Carolina. It wasn't even that big. It was probably the size of this room. Kids could come in and they could learn how to work a traffic circle, which I think a lot of adults might need. Being over on Arden Lane. So I'll wrap it up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the comments. Beth McCabe, please.
Hi, I'm Beth McCabe, 104 Shady Drive West. Good evening, everyone. Chief Haberman, I really liked what you had to say tonight. I think that sounds like a great strategy moving forward. Commission, thank you for doing all that you could to kind of come together to have this really meaningful conversation, because my takeaway is that it's obvious that we need to be talking about this. I've been riding my e-cargo bike for nearly 5 years. My 2 kids have literally grown up on the back of it. They're 5 and 9 now. It's getting real heavy. And they're getting really good at biking. So we will bike in the cemetery because there are, no cars. And it breaks my heart that I don't ever see a day when they will bike independently in our community, despite the joy that they have felt on the back of my bike. And I love that these kids are here today, and I love when I see them out there and not on phones, because that is childhood in its best form. But my heart drops because the speeds and the no helmets, and it's a parenting issue at home. And it's a way that as a community, I would never want to tell these kids to not go out and because I love biking, and I'm glad you all love biking, but we have to do it safely, and we have to educate. And I think what you had to say was really encouraging. I love that the school district is involved as well. I think my main ask is e-bikes aren't going to go anywhere, right? And they shouldn't, because in Mount Lebanon, whoever thought they would love biking? I mean, it's amazing. The e-bikes level the playing field. We really need to put in basic, simple infrastructure. And what I envision as being really effective is just creating a loop. So the woman who spoke with the near close call on Washington, I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm not surprised, but where are these kids going to go? So if we had a loop and it came up Cedar, because we own the road, and we have the space, and it went out onto Florida Avenue. Florida runs parallel to Washington. So these kids could go down Florida, and then we would connect to Lebanon Avenue, which goes right to the high school, and then that takes you back down to Main Park. Do you see what we've done? We've created an entire loop from the rec center all the way uptown, but you're not running people down, and these kids now have a safe space. Then we can start talking about the speeds and the helmets, okay? You kids gotta watch yourselves because I don't want you to get hurt. But we need to give them the space. I want the space. I want my kids to have the space. We all agree, but we just need to figure out how to make it work. So education is great, but let's start on Cedar. I know I keep talking about Cedar, Cedar, Cedar. It just seems so obvious to me, that loop, and feel like your legacy of like, wow, look what we got done as a commission. Now our community can loop around. I would feel so proud of living here to know that we really care about our kids and our future, and we really want to be the best community that we can be. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Move Lebo is here to support you. Maybe we can start passing out bike lights or something to the kids on these bikes to make sure that you're out there and you're safe, because that's our #1 priority. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Beth. John Reagan.
Good evening. My name is John Reagan of 777 Shady Drive East / 838 Florida Avenue. We are moving. So I actually had a list of awkward questions to ask about the e-bike ordinance regarding loopholes, legislative oversteps, miscalibrations. So I'm glad I don't have to do that. But I did have general comments too. I know a lot of us were here tonight to talk about e-bike regulations, but there's a parallel technology to e-bikes which has slowly evolved beyond what our current regulations can handle. As you probably know, passenger vehicles, sedans, minivans, station wagons have been declining in popularity in the United States. Manufacturers have been pushing work trucks like the Ford F-150, the Chevy Silverado, and the Cadillac Escalade, which is a pickup truck marketed to girls, onto office workers and soccer moms, because these vehicles have higher profit margins than passenger vehicles, because they're exempt from many of the safety and environmental regulations that apply to passenger vehicles. The bumpers are higher than they should be, so they cause more damage to other vehicles in a crash, even after adjusting for vehicle weight. They're taller and more top-heavy, so they roll over more easily and have a higher chance of going through guardrails and over concrete barriers like that lady who went into the Monongahela this past winter. Because they're taller and heavier, they need bigger pillars to hold up the roof, which means they have bigger blind spots and get into more crashes. I don't know how many of you do trigonometry as part of your day job like I do, but an extra inch 2 feet from your face, that blocks a lot on the other side of a 50-foot Mount Lebanon intersection. You can block the moon with your thumb at arm's length. Famously, trucks and sports utility trucks are more dangerous around children and other pedestrians. The US doesn't have any vehicle manufacturing safety regulations regarding pedestrians to speak of, but if it ever gets them, it's a good bet that work trucks will be exempted from those too. Crash safety and air pollution may be secondary concerns when you're hauling cow manure around in your Cadillac Escalade, but now parents are bringing these vehicles to our schools and parks to drop off their kids. My daughter and I went past the baseball fields on Cedar Boulevard a few weeks ago during a baseball game, and the parking lot looked like there were kids here. I'm not going to read that. I know that it's more popular to pick on teenage e-bike riders and motorcycle hooligans because they don't vote. But from a risk management perspective, the 3-ton vehicle that can go 100 miles an hour is a bigger threat vector. And some of them are still driven by teenagers. People are scared of the, like, I've had a close pass or two on the sidewalks too, and that's scary because we're not numb to it. But the SUV is what's gonna kill you. The e-bike might break even the motorcycle is probably not gonna kill you. It might, but. And that's a big part of the problem. It's like education. It's the news media. The news media fear mongers, and they call motorcycles e-bikes. Anyway, obviously, the municipality can't limit these vehicles on our public streets, but it could limit them at its public parks where children play, especially the ones that are getting fancy new parking facilities built for them. And regulating e-bikes more strictly than the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania would have set a logical precedent for it, but it sounds like we're not doing that, so yay. And perhaps even the school district would consider similar measures in its parking lots and school pickup lines. Kind of doubt it, but just something to think about. Have a good evening.
Thank you, John. Nico Filippini Dole.
I'm not Nico, but I'll be here speaking for him, talking on the behalf of e-bikes. I feel like e-bikes got a really bad name for all the really stupid drivers that are out with no helmets, riding unsafe, but that's not all riders. Riders ride with helmets, sometimes full face like a motorcycle helmet, and follow all the rules of the road. If you were to document and post on Facebook every single car that ran a red light or that ran a stop sign, cars would be all over the meetings here, but it's just the e-bikes that get talked about, and so they get a whole bad name about them, which just makes it really difficult for all the kids to get around, have fun, get outside. That's all I really have to say.
So you are going to promise you're going to always wear your helmet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All of you, always.
Would anybody else like to make a public comment? Online, do we have any online comments?
Nobody has their hand raised.
Okay, Commissioner Flynn? Felt all right. I want to thank everybody. This is an issue that we obviously take very serious, and the commission, I can tell you, is very concerned, and I think we are on the same team. I think that this kind of happened quickly. I mean, it's just been, all of a sudden, these devices are everywhere, and I think we all agree that we do want everybody outside. We do want people using the streets, and these aren't going away. I mean, I have a bike and I love to bike, but it is hard to bike in the neighborhood, as has been pointed out. And e-bikes really do level the playing field, and I think they're an important part of mobility. It's hard to bike here. It makes it hard to get places, and it's not any sort of relaxing endeavor. And so it's not necessarily realistic to do to just go to school or go to work. So understanding e-bikes really changed that, and I agree that it's a design issue, is what needs to be addressed, is that it does not feel necessarily safe to be on the roads unless you can go the speed of traffic, and so we understand, and I think we very much understand that speeds are a matter of infrastructure and design, and that we very much as a commission want to address that. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out, especially our younger people for having the courage to get up and speak. We really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming out, and we'll absolutely continue to work on this issue. Let's see. Item number 4, Commissioner Swalger Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting held on July 14th, 2026. I move to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We are going to skip item number 5 and move on to item number 6. And we will have, let's see, Commissioner Izzo, can you read item number 6 then? Oh, sorry, Commissioner Flynn. Well, I didn't know if we were going to bump it off. We'll just keep it as is. All right. Okay. Commissioner Flynn, item number 6.
Thank you, Commissioner President. Introduction, public hearing, and consideration of ordinance Bill number 7-26, authorizing general obligation bonds in a principal amount not to exceed $7,100,000 through the issuance of general obligation bonds series 2026. The municipality desires to issue debt for the projects listed on the screen, hopefully, and to pay the costs of issuance of the bond. The proposed projects are the Cedarville Boulevard parking, Clint Seymour lighting, turf installation, main park plan, add alternates, Cedar Boulevard, Brafferton Field, and library revitalization for a total amount of $6 million. Mr. President, I would like to introduce Bill number 7-26.
Second.
All right, we have a ordinance introduced, which demands a public hearing, so I would like to conduct that public hearing now. Would anybody like to speak at this time? All right, we will close the public hearing. Commissioner Flynn?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to enact ordinance bill number 7-26 by special procedure in accordance with section 114.6 of the Administrative Code, which requires a vote by roll call, and 4 votes are required.
Call the roll if the commission's okay with that.
Yes, please.
Commissioner Flynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Izzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Swager Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Siegler.
Yes. All right,
So that vote does pass.
excellent. Item number 7, Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to enact ordinance bill number 5-26 to amend Chapter 20 of the Municipal Code regarding smoke shops. As of April 14th, 2026 meeting, the commission introduced ordinance bill number 5-26 to amend Chapter 20 of the Municipal Code zoning to define smoke shops, permit them as a conditional use in the C2 zoning district, and establish use-specific regulations. The planning board reviewed the ordinance at its meeting on April 21st, 2026, and June 16th, 2026. At the June 16th meeting, the planning board recommended adoption of the ordinance amendment. A public hearing was held on July 14th, 2026. I move to enact bill number 5-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to make one comment. I think most of the people in the audience know this, but for that vast TV audience, you have to allow smoke shops someplace in Mount Lebanon. We're not allowed to say, you can't have this, you can't have that. It's not the way the law works. So this is a way to try to regulate them to the least, offensive place to have them, something that kids don't regularly get close to, et cetera, et cetera. So just a point of information.
It's an important comment. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion second. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 8, Commissioner Izzo.
Thank you. Consideration to appoint an independent auditor. The Home Rule Charter provides that an independent CPA firm must be appointed for the annual year-end audit. The appointment may be made for a 3-year term. In May 2026, a request for proposal was issued for independent audit. Responses were due back July 10, 2026. The municipality received 1 response from our current audit firm. The current audit firm has provided quality services and technical expertise in a field that has become increasingly specialized. The staff recommendation is for the firm of Maher Dussel to be retained as municipal auditors for the years 2026 through 2028. The first-year cost for this work is $41,500, and the total contract is $129,000. I move to appoint Maher Dussel as independent auditor for the audit years of 2026, 2027, and 2028.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 9, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of bids for the 2026 through 2029 sidewalk snow and ice removal services. Requests for bids for the contractual removal of snow and ice from municipal steps and sidewalks were sent to 7 local contractors, posted on the municipal website, and advertised in the Post-Gazette. The agreement will provide a base year with 2 renewal periods. 1 bid was received from Little Landscaping LLC. The proposed cost per response for the 2026-2027 season was $1,485.71, with minimum guaranteed number of 35 responses for a total of $52,000. The proposal also includes a cost of $55,000 for the 2027-28 season and $58,000 for the 2028-29 renewal periods. Little's Landscape LLC provided this service during the previous agreement in a satisfactory manner, and there is sufficient funding remaining in the 2026 budgeted snow and ice contractual account. Mr. President, I move to award the 2026-27 contractual sidewalk snow and ice removal services to Little Landscaping LLC in the amount of $52,000 with 2 optional renewal periods.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 10, Commissioner Swigger Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of final approval of a lot consolidation plan for 716 and 720 Gypsy Lane. Daniel and Elizabeth Schaefer own the properties at 720 and 716 Gypsy Lane and are seeking to consolidate them into 1.276 acre lot. The plan proposes to raise the structure at 716 Gypsy Lane. The lots are located in the R2 zoning district, and the proposed use will remain a use by right. The planning board granted preliminary approval and recommended final approval at the June 16th, 2026 planning board meeting. All engineering comments have been addressed. Mr. President, I move to grant final approval to the Schaefer consolidation plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 11, Commissioner Izzo.
Consideration of appointments to serve as junior commissioners. The commission received applications for a number of highly qualified applicants for junior commissioner. The applicants were interviewed by a committee. I move to make the following appointments. Henry Clark for the fall 2026 semester, Julia Antunes for spring 2027 semester.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 12, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of commencement of pension benefits. The employee detailed below has requested benefit commencement commensurate with the terms of their respective pension plan. The employee's name is Marina Nielsen, General Employee Pension Plans, and the start date is 8/1/2026. Mr. President, I move to approve benefit commencement for Marina Nielsen with our thanks for her many years of service to the library.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 13, Commissioner Swigger Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the expenditure list for June totaling $6,998,583.18. I move to approve the expenditure list for June totaling $6,998,583.18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 14, Commissioner Izzo.
Departmental reports. I ask that the reports be filed and reviewed. And
Hey.
received, excuse me.
Review them also like that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, that's funny.
And so they shall.